I never thought the day would come where I wanted to see this character as a leader card in the One Piece card game. Let's talk about that. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a great day. Did you know that there is a whole Discord channel dedicated to custom cards made for the One Piece card game? I didn't either, but now I do, and it's one of my favorite things that I have found recently. I really love seeing what people can come up with. There are so many creative people in this space, and I really am excited to see how people's brains work and what they want to see come out of this card game. And honestly, there's a lot of really good card designers in here. And before we start this video, I want to preface with this is just for entertainment purposes. We are just looking at these cards and reacting to them and seeing what we think about them, if there any viability to them or how they work, or if there any competitiveness. Like, I just want to talk about these. I think they're super cool. I'm going to blur out the creators' names. They are in the One Piece trading card game Discord channel. I believe you can find a link to that in the One Piece TCG simulator application. Now, let's go ahead and jump into this. Off the bat, we're going to be talking about some Sanji cards I found, and I really like these. I think this is a super cool concept for the deck, and actually, we just got a card reveal that kind of works like some of these, and I think that that's super cool. I feel like this guy was already ahead of the curve. He already knew what was coming. If you haven't checked out that video where I talk about that new card, I'll have it linked in the description below. You can go check it out. We talked about some new EBO4 as well as the ST29 reveals, so make sure to check that out. And if you like this kind of content, make sure to hit it with a like, hit me with a subscribe, hit me with that ding that bell, just so that you know when I post another video. Now let's jump into this. Sanji, black, purple, 5 life leader, 5,000 power. If the number of Dawn on your field is more than the number on your opponent's field, give this leader minus 1,000 power. So this is kind of like reverse, not reverse. This is the drawback, right? Like, you want to have less Dawn than your opponent, kind of like Reiju. Like all the Reiju characters and cards, you want to have less Dawn than your opponent. Your turn, once per turn, if you play a character from your trash, add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck to your field as active, then add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand. Now, my only critique here is that feels kind of like a negative, like a double drawback. Adding the Dawn to ramp feels good. However, taking the life doesn't feel good. You don't want to have to take a life. Now, I guess, I can't tell if this is optional or not, but I would assume that this would be an optional effect. You don't have to add the Dawn, and you don't have to take the life, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't want to take the life every single time. That just feels kind of bad. You're not going to do it to the point where you're burning through your whole life, but even like 2 life taking, like Purple Luffy does that, and they're living on the edge doing that. You know what I mean? It is an extra card in your hand, but this almost feels like a double drawback, and I saw somebody else talking about that in the comments about this card. But this is not the only card they made for this. They made a bunch of events and characters as well, so let's take a look at those. All right, so off the rip, of course, we have a Sanji character. This is Vinsmoke Sanji, 5 cost, 5k, 1,000 counter. Activate main, Dawn -1, you can trash this character. If your leader has the Germa 66 type, play up to 1 Vinsmoke Sanji with a cost of 9 from your hand or trash. Now, that seems kind of crazy to me. You get to your 5 Dawn turn, and then you go Dawn -1 to play a 9 cost. Just seems very overtuned. Now, let's take a look at some of the other cards. Of course, we have the 9 cost Sanji in question here. 9 cost, 9,000 power. If the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal to or less than the number on your opponent's field, this character gains blocker and cannot be KO'd in battle. That is crazy, because by the time you play that other Sanji, like when you're, say you go first, you're on 5 Dawn, you play that Sanji on curve, you go Dawn -1 and play out this one, you're on 4, your opponent goes to their next turn, they're on 6. This is a 9,000 power blocker that cannot die. Your opponent likely does not have anything on their field that can swing over 9,000 power at this point, so you're already ahead of them by a mile. On play, you may trash a card from your hand. If you have 10 or more cards in your trash, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Now, this seems just severely overtuned in my opinion. I think competitive wise, this card's cracked, man. I would love to play this card. This sounds broken, but I do think that it is just a little bit strong. I think being able to do this on turn 3 and essentially just mitigating the leader effect, like after you played this, you would also ramp that Dawn back, so you would be at 5, your opponent be at 6. This still gets the blocker, and that life that you took, you healed back, so you drew a card too. Seems just a little extra strong for me. Oh, we we have another 9 cost Sanji, so we have options. Okay, so 9 cost, 5,000. 1,000 counter. Also treat this card name as Sanji according to the rules. Oh, okay, this is Soba Mask. On play, when attacking, you may place any number of Germa 66 type character cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. This character gains 1,000 power during this turn for every 3 cards placed at the bottom of your deck. Then your opponent places the same number of cards you placed at the bottom of their deck. Whoa. Okay, so I guess you would have to have a way to mill a lot to really make good use out of this, because doing that every time you attack and on play, like, it's going to be hard to shuffle back more than like 3 or 6 at a time. I think this is cool. I think it's a very cool concept for a card, and I think making your opponent shuffle the cards back too is very, very strong in certain matchups. Definitely ones like Emu, back in the day, like Nami. This would go crazy against Nami, but you have to have a way to mill them. Let's see if we can find something like that. 4 cost, 6k Reiju. Activate main. You can trash this card. Play up to 1 Sanji character with a cost of 5 or less from your trash, then draw a card. Now I think we're getting a little crazy, because this Reiju, this Reiju can play this Sanji that can play this Sanji on turn 2 if you go second. That's just really over 2, and you're drawing a card. That's incredibly powerful. I think that this would instantly become the best deck in the room, despite double drawback on your leader. I don't think there's drawbacks anymore. I think you're just winning. I think that sounds really, really crazy. Next, we have Law. Okay, this is a 1 cost, 0 power, 2,000 counter Law. On play, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with the type including Germa, and add it to your hand, then trash the rest. Now, I think there's other characters you could do that's not Law. Maybe one that's a Germa type character. Maybe Sora or something like that. I don't know. Something that could fit better with the Sanji theme. I don't really think Law fits with the Sanji theme. Now, these are not my cards. Again, I'm not trying to critique too hard here. This is just my observation as a fan of the card game and the show and the manga. Next, we have Vinsmoke Sanji, where he's all beat up. 2 cost, 2k. You may trash this character. Give up to one of your opponent's characters -3 costs during this turn. That's pretty cool. You know, you pair this with some KO cards, you can pull off some cool stuff. And then we have 2 cost, 2,000, 1,000 counter. Opponent's turn. If your Sanji character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may KO this character instead. Then return the Sanji character as active. Okay, so if it was rested, you could restand. This is okay. I don't think this is a crazy good card by any means. I don't think it's crazy bad. I just don't know if you would play this over anything else. I just don't see if it's... I don't know how necessary it is. But let's jump into the other cards they made for this. All right, we have 4 more cards left, and I just want to say this is gas. This is awesome. I actually hope that this becomes a manga event card. So shout out to you if you're watching this video and you made this. I really like this. I think this is super, super cool. I really like how this looks. I'm a big fan of the manga artwork cards, and I know that it wouldn't have full color like this, but this scene is super gas. I could see it being purple. I think it would be awesome. 1 cost event, main, you may rest 7 of your Dawn, so 8 cost essentially. Trash 3 cards from your hand, then play up to 5 Germa 66 type character cards with different names and 5,000 power or less from your trash. Now, this is a black event, so I assume you would want to play all the Germa cards as well, like all the Vinsmoke characters from Reiju deck. And I mean, that seems good. It's just kind of like Judge. You know, this is just Judge in an event. But you have to trash 3 cards from your hand. Like, that just kind of feels bad to me. I wouldn't want to trash 3 cards from my hand. I'd just rather play Judge. I don't think you can... I don't know if you can play Judge in this deck. I think you might have to play it in Reiju, but still, this just seems like worse Judge. But it does have a counter. If you have 10 or more cards in your trash, your leader gains a 2,000 for this turn. I think that could be bumped up to 3, just because a lot of the events are 3 now. But still, great artwork, cool event. I do think that Judge is just a little bit better at what that wants to do. Here we have an event, 7 cost, Dawn -1, trash 3 cards from your hand, and look at 7 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 3 Germa 66 type characters and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, and play up to 1 Sanji character card with the cost of 9 from your hand or trash. Okay, again, I think this is just... I don't think this is too expensive. 7 to essentially filter 3 and then play a 9 cost. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great. I think it's just there. I think the other combo with the Reiju or the other Sanji is just infinitely better. But I digress. Cool to see another card. I think we have 2 more left. We have Charlotte Pudding, 4 cost, 4k, 1,000 counter. On play, trash 1 card from your hand. If your opponent has 5 or less cards in their hand, your opponent trashes 1 card from their hand and reveals their hand. I think that's... I don't actually think this is that great. You're going -2 to get a look at your opponent's hand and make them trash a card, but they choose the card they trash, and you're getting a body that can't even swing. Like, I just don't think you would want to play this card out on the field. Like, this I like the concept. I think that can be tuned just a little bit more. And finally, we have the last card. This is going to be a 3 cost, 3,000 counter. 3,000 counter. This is going to be a 3 cost, 3,000 power, 1,000 counter, blocker, queen, on play, dawn -2, draw 3, and trash 2 from your hand. That's awesome. I think that's a great card, actually. I really like this. Also has a trigger, dawn -1 to activate this on play effect and draw a card. So you would be draw 4, trash 2, which is kind of insane. That's a draw 2 on a trigger. Seems pretty good. I like it. I think this is a good card. I think this actually fits well into the Animal Kingdom Pirates purple decks. I think I would see this played in those. But yeah, I like all these cards. I think that they're really cool. I can tell you're trying to make this Sanji deck work and try to make a Soba Mask themed deck, and I think it's cool. I do think that there's not too much cohesiveness to all the cards together. I think that they could be woven together just a little bit better. Like, that first bunch of cards felt pretty good and pretty tight, but the rest kind of just started to taper off a little too much. I think it could get a little bit more refined, but overall, I like the concept. I think it's super cool. I like Sanji as a character. I'd like to see it happen. I think a Soba Mask deck would be super cool. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other leaders that I think are also really, really cool. All right, these are the other leaders that I was talking about, and I think that these are also really, really cool. I'm actually pretty excited about some of these because I think that they're really, really cool. Now, it's funny. I was actually thinking about this the other day. I was going through the 13 cards, and I was like, Windmill Village, and some of these little 2,000 power guys. I was like, who's gonna play these cards, man? Like, what was Windmill Village made for? Like, it's not going to be played. I don't understand it. I don't get why it was made. I just don't get it, right? And then I stumbled across this and I was like, holy shit, I get it now. I can understand, and I would love to see something like this made. So this is Whoop Slap. This is the I believe he's the mayor of the of Windmill Village where Luffy grew up. 5,000 power, 5 life, red leader, set for OP 15. Dawn X1, your characters with 2,000 base power or lower cannot be KO'd by your opponent's effects. I think that's pretty good. I think that's arguably fair, right? They're already so little, your opponent can just beat over them. Why make it so that they can pop them as well? That just doesn't seem too great to play them on the field. Activate main. Once per turn, you can rest this leader. If you only have characters with 2,000 base power or lower at play, activate the main effect of up to 2 red events in your trash with different names and a cost of 4 or less. Then give this leader and one of your characters a rested Dawn card. Now, that also sounds really fairly tuned. Like, I think you're playing characters that are so small, it's only fair that you get extra value and extra usage out of places like the trash in your hand. And I think that sounds really cool. I'd honestly like to see the events that would really pair with this really well. Maybe there's some that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head, but I'd love to see the events that could go with this really, really well. I think that it's cool, and I thought it was cool that I was just thinking about this card the other day, and here's a fucking leader that is made to go with the characters and the card. I just think it's funny how the world works like that. Next, this is what I was talking about. I didn't know I needed a Wanze leader until I saw this. Now, this is really cool. 5,000 power, 4 life, black and yellow. Once per turn, if your leader would take a life card from a battle or from an effect, you may instead trash 3 cards from your hand and 3 cards from the top of your deck. Then you must say, whoa, 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 Wanze, and up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less cannot be rested during this turn. Awesome. I would love this leader to come to reality, because I would love to go to my locals or a large event and hear people yelling, whoa, 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 Wanze. I think that would be fucking hilarious, and I would love to see it every single day. It would be my favorite thing to go play cards and hear people saying, whoa, 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 Wanze. I think that would be hilarious. Not to mention, this character is just a goofball. It has another effect. Activate main. Once per turn, trash 1 card from the top of your deck and draw a card. I think that's super cool. It's a CP7 type. I know it has to fit in with CP7 because that's his typing, but I think giving him like something else that makes it so that the CP cards that we already have existing could work well with it, I think that would make it really, really well. Maybe those cards read that if they have CP in their type. Maybe I'm confusing myself. I'm just a yapper. You should know by now I'm an A1 yapper, so Anyway, I didn't know I needed a Wanze leader until today, and I like it. I think it's fucking hilarious. Keep it up. Next, we have Bellamy. Now, like I said, I believe these it says OP15 down here in the corner, and I think these are supposed to be themed around the idea that we're getting a Sky Island theme set. Now, I don't think all of these fit into that, but it never does, right? Like, there's very few times where the whole set actually fits into what the set is themed around. I think that, what was it? The OP14 7 Warlords is one of the first times, and I still think they dropped the ball on Law, but we'll talk about that here in just a second. Bellamy, 5,000 power, 4 life, blue and green. Activate main. Once per turn, you may rest 2 of your Dawn and return up to 1 of your characters with a cost of 5 or less to your hand. If you have 5 or less cards in your hand, play up to 1 character with an equal cost to the card returned or less. Then, if you have 5 or less cards in your hand, draw 1 card. I think that this leader is really cool, and I think you could make a lot of sick combos with this, and I really, really like, this is one of my favorite things about this card game. I really, really like how this feels like Bellamy's Devil Fruit and like how he attacks and battles. He's a spring man, right? He ate the spring fruit, I think. That's what I and inferring from his springs on his legs. Maybe it's called something else like you would expect in One Piece, but he's springing around, he's bouncing around, he's Bellamy the hyena, he's always bouncing and laughing and whatever. This leader effect fits that perfectly, and I love that. I think it's awesome. And like I said, I think there's some really cool combos that you could do with this, and it almost reminds me a little bit of Blue-Green Sanji, but plays a lot different, and I like that. I think it's very, very cool to see. All right, next we have Nolan. Now, I really like Nolan. I think that this would be a great addition of a leader for the OP15 set that is Skypiea themed. I'd love to see it. It's 5,000 power, 4 life, blue and yellow. Dressrosa Jaya, botanist typing. I think that's super cool. Activate main. Once per turn, you may reveal the top card of your life and reveal a card from your hand. If the revealed cards have the same cost, you may return a character with the same base cost as the revealed cards or less to the owner's hand. Then draw a card. I think it's really cool. Not only do you get to keep the life card face down, because it doesn't say turn it up, it says reveal it, so you get to keep it there. You know the trigger. You get to know your trigger, and you get to keep it there. If you play the right cards, you could stack your life. There's plenty of cards that let you do that. You can do it with Whitebeard. You can do it with Hiyori. There's plenty of cards that let you do that. And, I mean, I think this is a really cool leader. I really like it. I think with blue cards, you can get a lot of draw advantage. I think that there's a lot of fun stuff you can do, and there's plenty of Sky Island cards that you can pair with this that'll also help you maintain your life and what you want to do with this. Next, we have Arose. Now, I really, really like this leader, and I really think that it's cool that we're exploring the concept of, again, a character's effect. So it's 5,000 power, 4 life, red and yellow. When attacked once per turn, give this leader plus 2,000 power during this battle for each life card you are missing from your original amount. Now, if you don't know Arose, he has I'm pretty sure it's a Devil Fruit, that when he takes damage and he gets hurt, he gets stronger. So that's exactly what this does here. The less life you have, you get more power on an attack. Now, it's only once per turn, but if you're missing all your life, you can go up to a 13k leader for that battle. So somebody attacks you with a Rush Roger, which is, I believe, right now still currently the highest power rusher in the game. You can just say leader effect and give them a 1k, and that just negates that whole attack. I think that's really, really cool. I think it's really, really fun. And then also has when attacking once per turn, if a card was added to or taken from your life cards during this turn, give this leader or up to one of your characters plus 3,000 power during this battle. Again, going back to that taking damage, but also lets you heal the damage. I think this is super cool. I think it fits perfectly. We have yellow Supernova cards that could work perfectly with this, like Law and Kid, and a whole bunch of other ones from OP10. And then we also have the new red Supernova cards that are coming out of OP14 that will pair well with this as well. So I like this leader a lot more than I like the red Law leader. I'm still pissed at that and how they didn't give Kuma a leader. My boy Kuma should have gotten that leader spot. But anyway, I'm done yapping. I think this leader's super cool. I think all the leaders and cards that we looked at were super cool today. And if you like this content, hit me with a like. let me know if you want to see more of this, because I had a really fun reviewing these cards. I really enjoy it. I like seeing what people come up with. I like seeing the creativity, and I like sharing it with you all. So if you want to see more of this, let me know down in the comments below. But other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great rest of the week or month or whatever, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.